Hello and welcome to the Dillon Dialogue. I'm Kerstin Anderson, the Director of Marketing and Communication for the Town of Dillon, and I'm here with Mayor Kevin Burns.
Hi everyone.
And our new Town Manager, Tom Acre.
Hello.
Welcome, Tom.
Thank you.
So I guess first things first, Tom, this is week 4 for you, correct?
It is.
Yeah, and you're still here. You've made a Dillon Dialogue appearance, so that's a good sign. So, Tom, I guess if you don't mind, if you could just spend a minute or two telling folks about yourself and your background and why we chose you. I'd like to hear that.
You'd like to hear that? Well, again, I'm Tom Acre. I'm very glad to be here in Dillon. I'm a Colorado native, and I say I'm back home after detours to France, Oklahoma, and Texas. My wife and I got a chance to come back about almost 30 years ago. So we took that opportunity and came back, and now we're home. So I've got, my wife and I have been married about 31 years. We've got 2 4-legged kids, a dog named Mariah and a cat named Tazzy. So we're looking forward to becoming a real part of the community. We're trying to figure out how to get her up here. She works for the city of North Glen as their stormwater permit coordinator and floodplain administrator, but we think we're close enough now that she might be able to telecommute from Dillon.
And the cat is still down in the Front Range, and the dog is adjusting to life in the high country.
This is her
right?
first week up here, so it's been an adjustment.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's the big transition.
So she'll probably be coming back and forth. Depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but she's my companion. So.
Well, I'll say I think we've talked a little on this program about the qualities we like in town managers, and certainly you've already said you're community minded, and I think that's something we were looking for. And I know you have some great experience with some other towns, and came highly recommended as somebody who can kind of go out there in the community and make things happen, which is what Dillon's always trying to do.
Right.
So we're glad to have you on board, and I just said you've made it past that 4-week mark and actually getting on TV now. So
yes.
So we know you're locked in.
And the 4th week started out with a bang with the fire.
Yeah, so let's maybe move right to that, since I suspect some folks who are watching this are kind of curious what the either where it's at or kind of how we got there and what's been going on. So I think I would be remiss not at the very top of this topic to give a big thanks to all the agencies who have been involved, who were involved in the Tenderfoot fire. That's Lake Dillon Fire and Rescue, the U.S. Forest Service, and primarily those two have been taking the lead. And then there's been additional support from the Summit County Sheriff's Office, Summit County Dispatch, Red, White, and Blue Fire Protection District. Of course, our Town of Dillon staff have been involved. I know, Kerstin, you were up there a lot, making sure folks were up to date with the latest information. Dillon Police Department, Xcel Energy, Denver Water, Silverthorne Police Department, and Colorado State Patrol. So I think that's it's a lot of different agencies, a lot of different walks of life all coming together on obviously a huge potential crisis that I think fortunately we can say is at least on the right track to not be the crisis that it could have been.
Right.
I think we were so fortunate looking at it today, even seeing the winds the day after when they were trying to contain it, that it occurred when it did, and that we got the response that we got with the resources that we did. And really, Tom and I drove past it, and we can see it from Town Hall, and you could just throughout the day, and you just seeing less smoke, and really now you look up there and you think, gosh, was something going on there?
Yeah.
If not for the helicopters and the cemetery parking lot and some of the tankers, you'd be hard pressed to know that we had such a significant event in our community. Yeah. Just really impressed with the response. Yeah,
absolutely. So for those who either were out of town for the week or didn't, or maybe watching this with a little bit of the passage of time, this was the Tenderfoot fire started this last Monday at. It was around 5 o'clock. Started as kind of a few acres. I think the topmost or at the most that the fire's been was 25 acres. Is that?
Yeah, just about that.
Yeah. So it's so it was So it was fairly substantial. Did not get down. It was for folks kind of wondering where on the map it was. It was sort of above Corinthian Hills. Did not end up getting over into any other drainages or anything. So, but kind of that sort of sagebrush area with some with some old beetle kill and dead wood and some of that fuel down there ended up being a pretty potent mix to get kind of a fire going.
It's amazing because in that area, I know the Forest Service and Town of Dillon and other entities, county entities, have been thinning in that area over the last couple of years. And so it's just the forethought to have done some of that, I think, really sets us up for success when things like this happen. But we talked a lot about those neighborhoods that were right there in the path, and I'm sure just sweating it out these last couple of days. And then as you went up the hill, there was a microwave tower. We get into Dillon's watershed there, and really, as far as the crow flies, it's pretty close to I-70. So a good reason to get a lot of assets there and stay on top of it.
Yeah, I think it does show, the level of preparation, especially here in Summit County. We have had fires in the area before. People know that you have to prepare for them. The clearing efforts that have been going on are all, this is exactly why we do it, so that when something happens, it doesn't go out of control immediately. And I think you saw that there's definitely that payoff for that level of preparation.
And the Summit County-wide chipping program, make sure you take advantage of that, and you see the importance of that in fire mitigation. So
definitely makes that hit home a little bit for why we're doing that, beyond just the convenience of getting dead trees out there for aesthetic reasons or whatever. There's actually some pretty important safety issues.
Absolutely. So we had about 120 people on the ground today, and they were just mainly making sure everything was tamped down. And I think we're down to, just a crew or two. And I think mostly, like I said, it looks pretty dead. I think we'll just be monitoring it another night and hopefully wrapping it up over there.
So are there still, for folks who are interested in getting back to recreating in that region, are trails still closed? Do we know can we send people to the right spot and where to go find out the latest information on that kind of status?
Yeah, so the trails are still closed, and the information, NCWeb is probably going to be a great website, and the U.S. Forest Service White River National Park Facebook page and website are going to be great resources for those. Right now we have signs up on the trails at Straight Creek, at Fry Gulch, across Tenderfoot, explaining that they're closed. So we'll make sure that those are taken down when we get the notice that we're back up and running. Yeah,
that'd be great. So certainly made me appreciate whenever we talk about water rights and all of our various backup options that we do for years, and have been something I've been trying to wrap my head around for years. But that's why we do it. You never know when some event will happen. It's and that's on Monday afternoon when the fire kind of first hit, there was a power outage, and we're talking about what happens if our water plant's down, and so how are we communicating out? We need to conserve water. Fortunately, the power did come back on, but it starts showing that. It shows why we have everything in place that we do, but also if you do have that sort of cascading system of failures, why you have to have as much forethought as you do, and that certainly our awesome town staff make sure that the town has.
Right. They actually determined that the cause of the fire was sparks from a blown insulator cap on the power line, so the XL energy line right there, and caused the grasses to ignite there. And so that is one of the reasons why we had those intermittent power outages. They were able to reroute. But yeah, makes that need for the generator that we've been talking about and other power sources up there.
Right, exactly.
Hit home once again.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, today the weather has just been beautiful. The drive over the trees are amazing, as reflected behind us here. And we still have a lot of time at the marina, right?
We do, yeah. So for those who still want to get back out on the water, our marina's still open. It's still spectacular out, especially during the day. So we're planning on being open through October, weather permitting. Correct? Is that Yep. So it's for anyone who knows, this is kind of our this is kind of our secret special season out here in Summit County. The crowds have died down a little bit, but it's still still can't be nicer to be out there. So we do have 25% off weekday rentals for folks through October. And I said, are we? What are our operating hours for the marina during this shoulder season? Do you know?
We are 8 to 5.
Yeah, 8 to 5. So it's probably a little bit too cold to be out there for that extended.
I'd say 10 to 4 is going to be. But Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. they're doing something new. They're doing a happy hour color peeping tour. It starts right at 5:30. It's $38 per person.
That'd be cool.
Grab some apps, grab a bottle of wine, and enjoy the colors from the water.
So love that we're able to do that. These extended operations for the marina. We have it's one of the best places to be in the summer. It's still one of the best places to be in the fall. So being able to kind of create those opportunities for folks to come out and still enjoy the water is spectacular. So that's.
All right, so Tom, we had a couple. We have a couple of economic development projects going on, and we'd be remiss to be on this show and not talk about these, right, Kevin?
Absolutely.
So talk about at the meeting last night. Council opted not to call up a decision of P&Z for the Dillon Flats. Let's talk about the two workforce housing projects that we have.
Yeah. Council upheld planning and zoning's decision on the Dillon Flats Phase 2 project. That's going to be total about 24 condo units in the all Dillon Flats project. About 25% of those are going to be deed restricted for workforce housing, which means folks that live and work in the Summit County area, 30 hours a week or more per full-time during the year, will have preference for those units. So it's going to fill a much-needed need in Summit County and in Dillon to help make housing affordable for some of those workers that live and work in Summit County.
And that project is tied to the Dillon Ridge Vista.
Yeah, so that's again, as folks who are regular viewers on this program might remember, we had one developer come in and say that he had an idea for a couple of different workforce projects. The Dillon Ridge Vista Apartments, which will be up by the movie theater. Folks can actually see there's been a lot of work going on there right now. Those should be coming online pretty quickly. And then this condo project down in the core area. Kind of taken holistically, it makes a huge dent in our housing needs for the town of Dillon. I said it's going to be, the Dillon Flats project's going to be 25% local year-round housing with deed restrictions. Those will be, again for anybody who's familiar with what the county's been going through the last couple of years, that deed restrictions. You have to work in town. There's some restrictions with AMI limits to try to target particular income groups. And we've got through these two projects, we've kind of got a gamut that I think we kind of run the gamut in terms of targeting different folks at different income levels, which is great. And then. The Dillon Ridge Vista Apartments is total 36 apartments. They are all long-term rentals. They're at least 6-month rentals. There's not going to be Airbnb or VRBO allowed. So, even the stuff that's not technically deed restricted to workforce housing still has to be that kind of stable tenant. They're going to have to actually be up here in Summit County, and I think that'll still be very attractive for the kind of folks who want to come up and live and actually live in the county and live in the town. But through that apartment project, 50% are going to do have those deed restrictions on us. So that's a huge chunk of our own local need for housing. Looking at the needs assessment that was conducted countywide, we sort of backed out what's the percentage share for the town of Dillon, and I'm pretty happy to say that this actually gets us 39% of kind of the goal that we sort of backed out of that needs assessment in terms of what Dillon should be trying to capture. I think the reality is we know you can always do more.
Right.
That just kind of gets you. So that's
That's our
not
baseline, jumping off
yeah,
point.
that's not necessarily saying that we're that we're only gonna do like one more chunk of housing, then be done. We recognize there's a big community issue here, and we're gonna find creative ways to get full-time employees in the town. But that's a huge, I think it's important to recognize what a huge chunk of employee housing is for a town of 900 to bring in a project like this. And I'm excited. I think it's it's kind of a game changer for the town of Dillon. It's creating those opportunities that were very hard to come by for the town, for folks to for folks to kind of to move into town who maybe were coming from somewhere else, or kind of transitioning to sort of a post-college professional time in their lives. There's to have some rental options in town that really didn't exist before, and then be able to transition into that into buying a condo, whether ideally you sort of think of you think of those young couples, or maybe people just starting up a family, where that condo can be an attractive option. And I think that's something that was, whether it's because the inventory in town was out of most people's price range, or something because that inventory didn't exist because we do have such a small footprint. I think we're creating that opportunity for folks to make Dillon their home that really didn't exist before.
I love looking at it from our business perspective too. So we hear from our business owners all the time, I need places for my employees too, and these apartments and the location that they're at.
Absolutely.
It really is a benefit to the health of our whole community.
Yeah. I think the mantra that is, I think it's true for most places around the country, and it's what a lot of people want, and particularly the kind of the millennial demographic that's coming in and starting to buy those condos and homes, is you want to be able to live and work in the same location. And quite frankly, Dillon's been a really tough place to do that over the years. It's as our town manager is finding out himself.
It took me about a month, and I was getting worried if I could find a place to live.
Yeah, but I'm optimistic that's something that's slowly changing, and that's going to be something we're going to continue working on as we do some of this redevelopment. How can you create that mixture where somebody can live through different phases of their lives in town, and be able to be that excellent employee who's there for the restaurant or the office or the construction company or whatever the case might be.
Well, with Tom having animals too, we might have had to put you in our old water tank as we discussed options of what to do with that last night.
That's right. Yeah.
You could have been the test case.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we'll just gloss over this next one because it's going to be coming in front of council pretty quick here, but we have Christie Sports, who's put in an application to build a signature location in their current location at the entrance to the town. And then, as people who watch the show regularly know, we put a request for a proposal out for some of town-owned land in the core area. And so basically that's Buffalo down to Lodgepole or Labonte and Lake Dillon Drive. And we did receive a proposal back, and on October 3rd, that developer is going to be coming and presenting a concept. I'm excited to get those conversations started. Tom and I have talked to the developer a little bit, and we've been meeting with our Economic Development Advisory Committee and getting some feedback, and really talking about, what sort of is that process going to look like. What we're going to see is really conceptual and really a jumping off point. And so after, if we decide that we want to sort of move forward with this person because we like the way they think and we think that their ideas around placemaking align with us, then that really kicks off a series of conversations with our community, with council, with our business community, to make sure that we're moving that forward in a way that aligns with our goals, and really blowing up what right now is pretty conceptual into a pretty much more comprehensive view of the future of Dillon there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, I think for myself, as I've been, knowing that we're going to have this October 3rd meeting coming up, I've been sort of framing how I'm approaching this, and what I How I suspect that more or less everyone else on council is, and I think it's I think you're exactly right to kind of point out that this is a there's sort of a conceptual this is a conceptual presentation. It's very high level. We're certainly what I'm kind of looking at is trying to see is this does this firm actually do they seem like they kind of get the culture, get sort of in a very general sense where Dillon's trying to go? Do they have sort of some of those ideas that might fit in with the community? Less so, it's less so than is this, would the 10-minute sketch of a building on a corner look exactly right from this setback, right? That's we're not quite there yet. It's does the general feel of what they're presenting seem like it could be a fit? And if the answer is yes, then you start on that process of like let's actually start figuring out what we're dealing with.
And market analysis and parking analysis and all that good stuff that helps make informed decisions.
Yeah, you actually have then you start packing in more of the details, and do buildings X, Y, and Z actually fit at this, with this size and type and in these locations, and how does that all work out? Knowing the space that we have available to work with, what some of the needs are in order to get some of that development happening, how it fits in with our design guidelines, what what kind of the community feedback is. And I think it's, certainly I go in looking at something like this is this firm's here to hopefully do a cool project, maybe one that lasts many years. They have to sell, they're here and they have to sell the community on this vision, and they have to sell us as a council on this vision, right? We kind of open the doors for folks to come in, but they're, they have to come and convince me why they belong in Dillon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And I think it's just the start of the conversation.
Right.
That's going to be, many months in the continuation.
Yeah. But hopefully, I'm like to think I'm always the optimist. So hopefully it is something that's a very cool project. That is something that excites myself, excites the rest of council, excites folks in the community, and in that case, you move forward and you start developing timelines, and you come up with you do your due diligence, you work on your plans, you figure out what the impacts are, how you mitigate them, how you start digging on what these structures need to be in order to be successful, and in order to bring in retail, bring in more housing, bring in more beds, do all those things, have positive impacts on the existing neighbors, on the existing businesses in there, the existing owners. If you can start sequencing all of that, you might, whether it's 5 years or 10 years down the road, you might end up with this incredible project in a very, in a redeveloped downtown Dillon, which is, which I still hear all the time. People want to see, people remember when the downtown had that vitality and want to have it again.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the other thing in terms of development that I hear from people are just they come to our meetings perhaps, or they're at a P&Z and they see a project and that has maybe come up in a work session to talk conceptually, do we like it or not? And then we give them, those people, feedback, and they kind of don't know where those projects have gone. So could you just give a quick update, either one of you, on the Gateway project and the Crossroads project that are along Lake Dillon Drive and Highway 6, and where we understand the developers to be on that?
They're still moving forward. We're still in the, I'm going to say, the planning stage of what the details are going to be. They both have been coming in and meeting with staff. The Crossroads project has been in front of council, has been approved, but the owner of the project is still working with his architects on exactly what it's going to be and what footprint it's going to be. But they are still pretty much all gung-ho to make it happen. In fact, they have said, oh, we'd like to start construction next year. So, I mean, that's still doable. They can use the winter to finalize all their plans and then come out and come up, come April or May or June as weather permits. The project at the corner of Highway 6 and Lake Dillon Drive coming in, he's back with his architect. I'm going to meet with him on Monday and talk with him a little bit more about what his plans are, but he's still very much wanting to move forward. He's got some people interested that would become partners with him in the project. And from what he's shared with staff, I think it's something that will fit well and is much needed in Dillon. So I can't say a whole lot more right now because he's still in that preliminary stages, but it's still something that I think we'll see a formal application in the next month or so.
You know, I can sort of speak generally. I know that's, you know, again, this has been since I've been on council. These have been, you know, 2 projects that have kind of been working through slowly, and you know, we're fortunate to have some great, you know, these are not outsiders who came in looking to develop these spaces. These are longtime residents of Dillon, longtime business owners in the community who are, you know, who are looking to, you know, to find a best use for their land, and then also I think, you know, I think to some extent improve and leave their, you know, leave a bit of legacy for the town that they've been a part of, which is great. I think, you know, I know council's enthusiastic to be able to try to find a project that works for folks like that, and you know, and find a way to really improve the town. I also know that we try to be incredibly careful to make sure that the projects, you know, the projects are meeting our zoning, meet our development requirements, you know, do meet those design guidelines, that they, you know, that when we're considering potential variances to a project, that there's a really darn good reason for it, that that we're not just giving variances willy-nilly. You know, there's a reason that we have the limits that we do in the town, and it's, you know, to help guide and direct the long-term redevelopment of Dillon. As you know, as people are always fond of reminding everyone on council, we're not Denver, we're not Breckenridge, we're no one but Dillon, and we have to approve development that, you know, that's kind of supported by the guiding documents that we have. So I think that's something that as a council we're very keen on, and, you know, I think that as Tom mentioned, both those cases, there's some folks here that I think understand that and are trying to work to create projects that fit in with that vision of Dillon. That's, you know, that's not full of skyscrapers. That's not that's not just packed as densely as possible, but really does fit kind of a mountain lakeside community. So I'm excited to see those projects move forward, and hopefully to have live applications come in front of us at some point. And I think that, but I certainly think that that's what I've described as sort of the frame that the council will be viewing those applications and any other applications that come in. So.
Great. Now I know you're in and around Dillon on the rec path on your daily run. So have you had a chance to run by the amphitheater lately and see?
I have. It's pretty cool. I highly recommend anybody that still wants to get a bike ride or a run in or go walk around on the rec path that they go check it out. I'll leave it to Tom to give some of the more nitty-gritty updates, but I love seeing I know that we've started to see some of the walls come up and some of the sort of artwork being done on that, and it's very cool to see. I think we're going to have just a beautiful space, an already beautiful space made even more beautiful and more creative down there. And when we first started the project, I'm like, I don't know how they're going to get done before the ground starts freezing. But it's been amazing. It's you just never know. But it's been amazing to see the progress that's been made down at the amphitheater, and I'm excited to see those buildings start to come up, and so that work can transition inside, so that we're ready for the summer season.
Right. Well, they're making really good headway. In fact, I talked with some of our staff today about it. They had their project meeting with the contractor this afternoon, and the concrete walls with all the art finish is getting wrapped up and finished. They're starting to backfill around those and some of the other foundations. Yep. Still got a little bit of work on pouring some of the concrete foundation and wall work for the amphitheater. The concession stand and bathroom, the walls are going up, and the ultimate goal is, and Mother Nature prevailing, is they get everything enclosed. So this winter, they're working inside, doing all those finishes The plan is before the ground freezes that all the site work that needs to be done for these buildings is done, and then next spring it's the fine tuning and fine work and more of the detail stuff on the outside. So they meet weekly and give me updates, and I've been out there a couple of times this week. So they're moving along, so it's going well.
I enjoy going down there because you always see people peeking in the fence, and I often stop and talk to them. And I talked to a gentleman the other day. I said, what are you doing? Oh, well, I'm just making sure they're doing it right down there. And so I
great.
said, well, what do you think? How's it going? And he basically said, well, looks about right. It's going to be really cool. So
Good.
love to hear that feedback.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we're wrapping up we just wrapped up the last farmers market. We wrapped up the summer concerts, and I was around fundraising for an improved sound system down there, and got to sort of share the schematic with people as I was passing the bucket, and just to see how many people in the community are excited and just ready to be watching concerts down there is really lots of fun. It's been fun to have that interaction with folks this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been, the positive feedback I've received from folks once you start seeing that project happen, it's, I think it gets kind of real for people, and they can see like, oh, there is actually going to be, this sort of improved experience down there for summers to come and for years to come. And I think that it becomes a little bit contagious, some of the folks that get really excited. So I know there's I know that I've talked to folks that have started to they're already transitioning over to what are the possibilities of what we can bring down there now, right? What are the new, what kind of new acts? How can you kind of up the game of entertainment, of cultural experiences, all that stuff? And I've heard, I've certainly been barraged by a number of suggestions of things we can do down there now that we just couldn't before. And it's all, I think it's all exciting. And, fortunately we'll have years and decades to find different stuff to bring to people down there, which is a really exciting prospect.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, and it's more than just an amphitheater. I mean, it's part of the park, and during the time period when it's not used as an amphitheater, we expect to see people exercising on those steps, using it as training.
Yep.
So
Right.
I think ties directly in with the rec path and the amphitheater park and marina park, and I think it's going to be perfect. Another little addition to the community.
Absolutely.
Great. And so winter is on the way, as nice as the weather is. And just last night, you guys moved forward on an agreement for winter animation.
That's right. So we're really excited. There's been for folks who are around in the been around in the community that I think most of them know about the ice castle that have seen their homes in Silverthorne, and then I think before that in Breckenridge.
Yeah, Silverthorne and then Breckenridge.
Or Silverthorne and then Breckenridge. Yeah, the time all kind of blends together. Well, we're happy to say they're coming into Dillon. I think that's I think it's going to be a tremendous opportunity. It's going to be from November to April. Is that and it's. I think for Dillon, winter has been sort of the nugget to crack in terms of how do we provide exceptional programming for folks, things that you might not find elsewhere. And I think that the Ice Castle opportunity is one fits right in there. It's something that obviously it's something that's that the community's loved and supported a while. It'll be it'll be unique programming for Dillon, and it's we have some uniquely great space for it. Yeah,
it's accessible to everyone, so I really like that. I like the longevity of it, and I think it's going to be pretty neat. These cavernous ice castles with cool lights, and it should be a lot of fun. And I think we saw that last year when we tested the snow play.
Yes,
so we had
absolutely.
snow sculptures, and I'd like to bring some of that back again this year because that was so cool. But really just seeing community outpouring and a lot of people there, a lot of interest socially. So it'll be a lot of fun to continue down that path.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's we're finding this kind of niche in the community or programming need. It's that it's that family friendly entertainment that's that's not totally all consuming for your day or for your wallet, and that you can that you can kind of come in with your family and enjoy to the extent that you want, and then move into the restaurant or go back home and cook your cook dinner for the family or whatever the case might be. And I think that's it's around here there's so much emphasis placed on the that kind of unique weekend-long experience for a guest, which is great, which is great. But there's kind of that quieter, more low-key entertainment that I think is, that there's a sort of a reservoir of demand for. And I think that we're, as you said, last year we kind of found we tapped into that a little bit. I think these ice castles find another way to tap into it, and I think it really complements sort of the character of the community, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it works.
Yeah,
so.
Me too. Before we wrap it up, we just have one more sort of staffing announcement as it relates to our long-term legal counsel, Mark.
Yeah. So for anyone who's been involved in the town for over the years, or probably some of you have served on a committee or served on council, and known Mark, our legal counsel, which is appointed by the town council of 33 years. Mark Shapiro is retiring. He's shepherded the town through many ups and downs over the years. Mostly ups, I'm happy to say. And as we were talking before the programming started, he saw the town write its latest charter in '92. He's been involved in the city market coming into town. Certainly over the last few years, these current redevelopment opportunities. He's provided a lot, very. I'd say very sage counsel for the town, and
even annexing land with Denver Water, right, for the marina.
Yep. That's so just a lot of the things that you think of as Dillon now, he's had a hand in and has really helped shape sort of the character of the community in, I think, very positive ways over the years.
He's been a great guy to work with. Lots of fun, and sort of institutional knowledge where you can say, how did we arrive at this decision? And that's been really great to tap into.
Yeah, and I've in an area which we historically think of as pretty transient, somebody who has that level of experience and has continued to work with the town over the years has been incredibly valuable. That'll certainly be missed. We did make our new appointment last night. Light and Kelly, PC. Kathleen Kelly is going to be our new counsel, hopefully for many years to come. And we're excited to work with her.
Yep. And Tom, we had 9 applications.
9 applications, firms, and council narrowed it down to 2, and I helped along with staff. We had 2 interview panels, and I think we had the top 2 firms in the state that could provide legal counsel, and have selected the best one of those 2. But it was a tough decision, which is always a good thing to have.
Right. Yeah. I know we were sitting around after the interview saying, how do we, when you have such good candidates, how do you make that decision? Right. So we were glad to be able to make a decision. I think it's, I think it's going to be an exceptional one for the town, and look forward to developing a new long relationship with somebody who'll be able to help shepherd the town for a long time to come.
We're in good hands as Mark enters into semi-retirement.
Exactly.
Lucky guy. Well, with that, thanks for joining us at this month's Dillon Dialogue.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.